essay. Make sure everything, you guys keep your phones on mute. If you have a question, you can raise your hand and drop it in the chat. We'll be able to accept questions as it goes along, depending on how our speaker wants to go. I'm Zeandria English, Blumenville. I am a 2011 alumni of Alabama A&M University. And I want to welcome all of you guys to this Tech Talk, recruiting students to Alabama A&M, the best university there is, alumni workshop. The purpose of this workshop is to train the alumni to duplicate the efforts of the admissions staff. Our admissions team, they work endlessly to get our students ready and set up for success. So we want to, as alumni, to be able to mimic their efforts and communicate on their behalf in our local areas. No matter where you are, we all want to say one team, one fight, and be able to communicate those same messages. So we have listed some questions via the Facebook group and social media. If you have any questions about what you want to learn tonight, definitely feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll have our tech team monitoring those chats to do our questions. Next up, we will have Ms. Mary Jones Moore, our president of the National Alumni Chapter Association.
So good evening, everyone, and welcome to our 2022 Tech Talk Recruiting Students to Alabama A&M University. I would like to thank you all for joining and thank you for your interest in our university. As you know, recruiting is very important to the future of our university. We're recruiting students for the next generations of doctors, lawyers, who knows, the president of the United States. So it's very important that we all partake in this effort as alumni. And so once again, I just want to thank you all for joining, and I hope that you will have questions that you would ask Mr. Green. Mr. Green is the director of admissions at our great university, and he is a very, very good friend of the Alumni Association, and he is an alumnus of the university. So I just want to say thank you for joining, and we will move to our vice president, who will give us a word of prayer. As you all know, that's very important in anything that you do in life. Praise for us is a weapon, and we're going to make sure we do everything right, decent, and in order. And and I know he's gonna get mad at me, but our Baptist preacher is going to give us a word of prayer. Love you, Terrence.
Thank you, Madam President. Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, God, we thank you for being God. And God, we thank you for being God alone. God, we thank you for sitting on the circumference of the universe and allowing things to run smooth and well since the beginning of time and on today. God, we thank you for all of your many blessings. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your love, and we thank you for your mercy. And on today, God, we thank you most of all for Jesus Christ. God, we thank you for Alabama A&M University. God, we thank you for Dr. William Hooper Council. And God, we thank you for our 12th president, Dr. Daniel Wims. God, we thank you for all that you're doing in and through the legacy of Dr. Council and in this new season of knowledge, aspiration, innovation, and creativity at our university. God, we ask that you bless our university. We ask that you bless our administrators, our faculty, our staff, our board of trustees, our students. And God, we ask a special blessing right now on those that work in admissions. God, we ask that you would bless them as they go out to seek those that would like to come to Alabama A&M University. God, we ask that you would bless the work of their hands, bless them as they travel. And God, we ask that right now, as they seek to inform us and educate us on the ways to go about assisting them in doing their work. God, we ask that you open our minds, open our hearts to receive what Mr. Green and his team has to say. God, we ask that right now that you would empower us to be great recruiters, to bring someone to the place that has blessed us so. God, we ask that you bless us to this end. And God, we ask that you be present in this virtual space, in all of those homes that are represented right now, all of the chapters represented, and all of those that love Alabama A&M University. God, we bless you and we thank you for all that you're doing in and through the Alumni Association. In Christ's name we do pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you for that prayer. Okay. Let's get a poll of who we have in the room. Go ahead and light up this chat room. So what class and chapters do we have represented? Let us know in the chats. I saw a wave, but I haven't seen anything. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, I see class of 1987, 20, okay, 209, 2011, Queen City chapter. Now, I'm a little biased, but it doesn't actually necessarily see South Carolina Midlands Alumni chapter in the room. Hello, when we get two, we all here. So, okay, 81. How many of you man the college fairs for your chapters or represent Alabama A&M schools or as counselors? Okay, I see one hand raised. Sabrina, you are our the face of our flyer. I hope you didn't mind.
I don't, thank you. I feel famous.
Listen, Dallas-Fort Worth has definitely been a chapter that we want to highlight because you guys are out there participating in these college fairs all the way out in Texas where we have to extend our reach. So we definitely appreciate you guys' efforts. We highlighted, if you guys don't remember, we highlighted Dallas-Fort Worth for their recruiting efforts during the summer conference. So we appreciate all you guys' hard work. And we just want to be able to do it everywhere.
Great job, Sabrina.
Okay, Ms. Drake for College Fairs for DC, Black Alumni Council, Indianapolis. Okay, so we actually got a question about reaching out to these Midwest locations going further than Texas. So I'm happy to see that these are going out there. Is Indianapolis considered Midwest? That's Midwest, right? Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
Awesome. Ms. Gordon, I've heard of your efforts for the Metro Atlanta. Metro Atlanta takes 2 bus loads of students for high school senior day. So we're trying to get like them as well.
Just for point of reference, the goal is to take 3 this year, Mr. Vice President Bickerstaff, just let you know.
Is that the contest going on? Please don't
Thank
say
you.
that.
Yes, there is a contest going on, and thank you for that, the information. So all of those other chapters out there, you better get to work.
All right, Mr. Stinson, where are you representing? They said they're doing 3 bus loads. Don't tell me you're Atlanta as well.
Oh yeah, I'm the Atlanta Vice President,
Oh,
also
man.
heading up the high school senior day for the Metro Atlanta chapter this year. So we will have 3 bus loads.
Y'all hear this? Atlanta said they bringing 3 bus loads. How far is that drive from Texas? I'm just saying, y'all out there.
Probably 9.5 hours, maybe.
That sounds worth it to me. Okay, so what do you guys normally do for your recruiting efforts? Did you know that I'm gonna just jump on Mr. Green's toes a little bit, but we have like several recruiting videos that are like plug and play that'll just do the highlights for A&M. What we're waiting on right now is for them to be revamped with a new intro from the president, but this is an example of what's available for us to use out there. You can go ahead and hit play for that.
Greetings. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, students,
and alumni, I welcome you to Alabama A&M University, home of the Bulldogs. The beautiful campus is located in Normal, Alabama, and offers over 60 degree programs. We're excited that you are interested in Alabama A&M University and invite you to earn a degree in one of our cutting-edge programs. Founded by an ex-slave, Dr. William Hooper Council, Alabama A&M University is rich in history and tradition and offers a caring and supportive environment to assist you in achieving your educational goals. As a center of excellence, the university is dedicated to providing a student-centered educational environment for the emergence of scholars, scientists, and critical thinkers who are equipped to excel through their contributions and provide leadership in a 21st century national and global society. Here at Alabama A&M University, you can start here and go anywhere. Go Bulldogs, and welcome to Alabama A&M University.
Daryl brings new energy to the power.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Dwayne Green has joined
Good
us
evening, everyone.
for this
Can you guys hear me?
presentation. And once again, Dwayne, we would like to thank you for taking time out out of your busy schedule to talk to alumni on how we can assist the admission office in recruiting students to the university. So I'd like to thank you, and there will be, after your presentation, there will be a question and answer. And also there have been questions about the videos that have been shown. So, you can tell them how they can get a hold to those videos as well as a recruiting tool when they are recruiting students in their various locations. So without further ado, we have Mr. Dwayne Green. Thank you.
Good evening, folks. I hope everybody can hear me. Everybody got a thumbs up that you can hear me? I'm online, dear.
We can hear you.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
We can hear you.
All right. Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and get started. I apologize for being late. I had some things to finish up before I left work, and then I got home and internet wasn't working. So I think we should be in business to go ahead and get started. I see that you guys did get a chance to watch one of the recruiting videos that we have. That is actually not the one that we're using, but some segments of it we're actually still using. Got to tie Dr. Williams down for a few minutes to do another recording to add his pieces on there. The one I think that you guys were watching had Dr. Eugenie on there. So hopefully within the next week or so, we'll get a chance to get Dr. Williams to do his recording again for us. I think you guys did see maybe one of those 30-second commercials. There's a commercial from each college that they have that kind of highlights their department. I'm going to put those videos on YouTube so that way when you try to share them in a setting like this, it pretty much drags the internet down because it's trying to share that resource throughout all the parties that are actually logged in. But what I will do is, let's see if I have the screen sharing option to actually show you guys the actual current brochure that we have. This is on here. Let's see here. Let's do this.
So Dwayne, they would like to see if you can increase your volume.
My volume, okay.
Thank you.
Let's close this one.
To share your screen?
Okay, yes, give me 1 second.
Yeah, the sound is good on our end, so you're good.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, all right, let's try this again. Let's see. All right, smooth this out of the way. Let's get this down to the side where you can see all of it. Okay, can you guys see that? Well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, so what I want to do is kind of go through the brochure. So got to give you guys the high points. Well, actually, what we call the meat and potatoes of the brochure. At most of our recruiting events, what we try to do is to narrow down our brochure information to really what students are really wanting to know. There's a lot of things that we can give a lot of our students, and we look at marketing material from other universities, and and knowing our typical student, most of them are not going to pay attention to a whole lot of things that they probably need to pay attention to. So what we try to do is stick with the main information that is most critical for them, and that would at least answer at least 90 to 95% of most of the questions that they're going to be asking when we're at most of these events. To the next page. All right, the second page of the brochure pretty much starts off with some general information about the university. Some history, some good things about the university. Some information concerning some of our alumni, actually institution size, and a few factoids about a few things concerning the university. And clearly, the main focus on that sheet is actually the actual colleges. And this includes all the different majors that we have for each college. Also have a testimony from one of our students who is actually one of the university ambassadors, Mr. Markel Tucker. And we have two students that we did testimonies for, but like I say, this page is generally just some of the history concerning the university, and of course, all the different programs that we have for basically undergrad students. Okay. Okay. The next page pretty much gives you an idea of all the different athletic programs that we have for, of course, men's and women's sports. It gives you a quick look at the cost to attend. And of course, there's two sections in that. One is for the traditional dorm and one is for the suite style dorm. And it gives you a breakdown of the actual tuition costs, the dorm costs, the actual meal plan, and of course, the mandatory fees. And it gives you the in-state costs and also the out-of-state costs for each one of those areas, the traditional dorm and of course the suite style dorm. And below that is the actual image of the actual scholarship information. It gives you all the details of the scholarships that we offer out of our office. That we actually offer out of the admissions office. And as you can see, the first one there is a normal light scholarship. For down the line, I want to make sure that everybody understands about the out-of-state and the in-state tuition. Probably 6, 7, 8 years ago, when we first introduced this scholarship, it was called the out-of-state tuition waiver. Probably about 2 years into that, the state examiner in Alabama told us that we were not authorized to waive the out-of-state fees. So what they told us is that if you want to, you can create a scholarship to cover the out-of-state portion, and we had to offer it as a scholarship. And I know that kind of got around because that was a pretty hot ticket for us. We advertised it on the flyer. It was, out-of-state fee waiver. And basically that's still what it is right now. It's just that we call it the normal light scholarship. There's a lot of institutions around the southeastern part of the country who are actually waiving out-of-state fees for their students, but that is not going to happen here in Alabama because it's specifically Alabama and Auburn exist in this state, and I'm sure a lot of their alumni control a lot of the different legislation seats in this state. And basically, when I looked at, I mean, Alabama and Auburn, about 70% of their students are out of state. So in the event that our governor decided to allow us to do that, Alabama and Auburn both would lose about $500 million every year. So clearly, I don't think that anybody have any intentions of doing that for the state of Alabama. But there are some states in the vicinity of Alabama who are actually waiving their out-of-state fees. They were doing that when the pandemic hit, and I think some of them are still doing things along those lines. So with that being said, we created a scholarship that was called the Normalite. And the criteria for it is to have at least a minimum 2.0 grade point average. And what we actually did with that is that we took the grade point average of 2.0 and a minimum ACT score of 18. And as long as your GPA and your test score equal 20, you were able to get that scholarship. Now you see 2.0 and of course 3.0, which requires a 17. Now, in the event that student has a 4.0 grade point average and at least a 16, and I think 880 is the actual SAT score, that student will still qualify. We don't have very many students who have a situation like that, but every now and then there's one or two, but we didn't add that extra line item in there because most of the students, 99% of our students range in the, of course, 2.0 to 3-point grade point average if they have scores around the 18 to 17 range. So, and as you can see, the amount of that scholarship is $4,305. So that's basically half of the tuition cost. And it's really the cost of college for every student that attends Alabama A&M, even if you're an in-state student or not, the cost is actually $86.10. But because you're an Alabama resident and your parents resided in the state of Alabama, all the students
Dwayne, something happened.
I think we lost him.
No, he's here. Let me do this. He's still in the meeting. He just needs to start his share again.
I got muted there and my screen share got lost. Let me see if I can pull it back up. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. We're back. Okay. All right. So where I left off, that tuition scholarship for $4,305, that is the normalized scholarship. It covers half of the tuition for all of our out-of-state students. And as you can see, the additional information, that's for out-of-state students only. Okay, next scholarship criteria is a presidential scholarship. And of course, the red asterisk basically states that, we only give a few of those away each year. And it's normally, those students are first come, first serve. So those students who actually commit early will be the ones who will receive those presidential scholarships. All right. The next scholarship is the merit scholarship, which requires, and I'm sorry, I didn't go through the requirements. And of course, presidential scholarship is 3.75 minimum GPA with a 28 ACT or 1,300 SAT. And of course, that's full paid and $1,000 book voucher each semester. And of course, the next one is the merit scholarship, requires a 3.25. You have to have a minimum ACT score of 23 or 1130 SAT. And that pays the full tuition cost. And we offer the merit scholarship to in-state and out-of-state students. So whatever the tuition cost is for that student, whether you're in-state or out-of-state, it pays the full tuition. And even if you're out of state student, it's going to pay the full tuition, $86.10. Of course, in-state is going to be $43.05. And of course, we also have the Heritage Series scholarships. We have the gold, silver, and bronze. Now, the one thing about the Heritage gold, silver, and bronze is that if you're eligible for the normal light, you can be eligible for 2 scholarships. If you're eligible for the normal light, you can be eligible for the Heritage Gold or the silver if you're not a state student. So if the GPA is at least 3.25 or higher and have at least a 17 to 22 on the ACT, and of course a 920 to 1120 on the SAT, you can be eligible for the Heritage Gold and the Normal Light Scholarship. And the same criteria for the silver, if you have at least a 3.0 to 3.24 with the 17 and of course the 920 SAT, you can be eligible for the Heritage Silver and the Normal Light also. So students can be eligible for both of those scholarships. The only ones that you can only be eligible for one are pretty much the Presidential Scholarship and of course the Merit Scholarship. You can only be eligible for one of the 2 of those scholarships. So you can't have any of the other ones simultaneously. And of course, the Heritage Bronze Scholarship, that is really basically for in-state students only. And of course, all of the Heritage scholarships carry a $250 book voucher for each semester. Okay. And of course, up at the top, let's see if I can move my bar so I can see it. The actual acceptance requirements for full acceptance, we still use the composite predictive index, which basically means your GPA plus your test score. Actually, the minimum test score for us is actually a 14. So when you add your 14 to the 2.0, that gives you a 16. So it's kind of a way to actually make that requirement look a little higher than what it actually is. I think the university went to that criteria about 8 or 9 years ago. So in actuality, the minimum test score is actually a 14. And of course, the minimum GPA is still at 2.0. Right now, we're still offering the ACT, SAT waiver, but we're strongly encouraging our students to at least take an opportunity to take the test for a couple of times. The scholarships are still based on the criteria in the box down there. And, you know, we can waive the test scores for you, but you won't be eligible for scholarship because the GPA matches the requirement in the scholarship area. So, you know, when we send these students acceptance letters, we let them know if they're receiving the waiver. You know, you've been accepted based on the ACT or SAT waiver, but it's highly encouraged that you find an opportunity to take the test because the scholarship criteria still exists, regardless of the fact if you have a grade point average. Now, for the past couple of years, we've been offering students without test scores or low scores. We've been offering in-state students at least $2,000 per semester if you have at least a 3.0 grade point average or higher. For those out-of-state students that have the same, we've been offering students at least $2,500 per semester. Now, when you look at it, for an out-of-state student, it's a pretty big hurdle. You know, the minimum cost for an out-of-state student is right at $13,373. $2,500 is not going to put a very big dent in that. You know, if a student is fully Pell eligible, that's going to give them and clearly if they're eligible for maximum student loans, that's only going to be $2,750. So $2,750 and $2,500, you know, you're right at $5,200 and another $3,000 if you're Pell eligible for the max. That's going to give you right around about $8,200. So you still got another little over $5,000 that you're going to have to come up with to pay the full bill, and that's just for the traditional dorm. So students without test scores, it's going to be a pretty big hurdle, even if you are eligible for at least the 2,500 as an out-of-state student. But the in-state students can get a little closer if they're eligible for all of that. I mean, if you're getting about $8,000 because you're full Pell eligible, you're not as as far behind as the out-of-state students. So again, if you're talking to students out there, I would strongly encourage them to try to at least take practice, ACT, SAT, or try to find as many opportunities as they can to try to get that score up as high as possible, because the scholarship dollars are still weighed heavily upon the grade point average and of course the test scores. There are some institutions out there who are offering scholarships. Matter of fact, Tennessee State was offering students full paid scholarships without test scores. And they didn't offer very many. Now, Tennessee State was offering an option that really seemed to me was more or less a deceptive trick, because I think some of the communication in their actual requirements basically mentioned, there was a statement in there that basically said, in the event that funding is not available for the second year, that the student will not be able to get that scholarship again. So as a parent, that would be a kind of an open-ended deal right there. If you send your kid off to college for the first year, you're going to be expecting for them to get that same scholarship as long as they're meeting the requirements for it the second year. So I'm not sure how that's going with most of those students, but I think this was the first year that they actually offered that. But the million-dollar question is that, okay, is that scholarship funding going to be available for the second year, providing that student is meeting the requirements? And as you do know, the requirements to keep our scholarships are not listed on there, but normally when the students receive those scholarships, they send them what the actual requirement is going to be to keep them. The presidential scholarship, I think you have to keep at least a 3.5 grade point average. And I think the merit, you have to keep at least, I think it's at least a 3.0 in order to keep that each year. And any of those students who fall below the requirements, if you fall below the requirement one time, you can get it extended. Just write a letter and explain to them why you fell below the requirement, and they'll extend it to you for another semester. But if you fall below that requirement twice, then unless you have some real strong reasons in terms of why you didn't make it a second time, but that'll have to be taken up with the Financial Aid Scholarship Committee. So, but again, the main caveat of this is that people will ask, do you all waive out-of-state fees? I tell the recruiters and all the people on my staff is we don't even use that word, so people won't get that twisted, because if it can be waived. And also another thing that a lot of students will ask is that there are some schools that, matter of fact, Tennessee State again, they waive the out-of-state tuition for students who are within 250 miles of the university. Now, A&M has a what they call a 50-mile radius tuition waiver fee, but you have to be within 50 miles of the university. There are actually 9 counties in the southern part of Tennessee that all of those students who live in those 9 counties are actually within 50 miles of Alabama A&M. So some people take that as if you're 50 miles away from the state, but it's 50-mile radius from the university, which only includes 9 counties in the southern part of Tennessee. Okay. Anything else on this page? Clearly we have a box up there that's got some information about Veteran Affairs and Disability Services. So, Alabama A&M was listed as, one of the top 10 military-friendly schools. So there's some information that we're required to make sure that it's noticeable for any of those students who have disability services. Okay, go to the next page. Okay, yeah, I guess that is the last page. So the last page is just a caption of an aerial shot of the campus with some other information clearly about Huntsville, and some of those things that we do on the campus, and you know, a refreshed picture of one of our first-time freshmen this year. She took some pictures with her Alabama A&M outfit, and they had a picture of Bulldogs. So we had a different picture of that for another student that was actually from Birmingham. So you know, the parents shared those photos with us, and I was like, hey, this is a nice picture. We'll include it on the brochure this year. So it was, you know, we had nothing to do with the pictures, but obviously the student and the parent, they took their own photos at their school, and they shared them with us. So we included them, you know, on our brochure this year. The QR code down there is a new application that we've actually been using for almost a year now. We were using the application really to pull in the Common Black application that students can apply to all the schools that are actually part of the program, and they only have to pay one fee. So years back, those applications were actually paper applications for us because we had to print them out, and then of course we had to put them in our system manually. So you know, last year we bought this software. It's called Admission Pros, and they gave us the ability to be able to import those applications into our system, which is Banner, and that took away the option for us to have to treat those applications as paper application, because the Common Black application, they have anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000, 7,000 applications per year, and it's based on the students who select your institution as one of their top 4. And regardless of the fact, if they don't select us as one of their top 4 institutions, we still have access to their applications. So that gives us another pool of applicants that we can reach out to see, you know, hey, look, here's an offer from Alabama A&M. It's not an offer for financial aid, but it's an offer that when we send them an acceptance letter, we let them know that they're eligible to receive a scholarship. And of course, the scholarship chart is actually on that acceptance guide also. And it lets them know which scholarship that they're actually eligible for. So we've had a good number of students who did not choose us as one of their top 4 institutions that actually decided to enroll in A&M. So, you know, there's some institutions that some students feel that they really want to attend, but we get it. I mean, this day and time, it's all about dollars and cents. And it's really about who's offering the best scholarship money. So very few students that are out there that are parents and say, well, he's going to go there because that's where he wants to go. So for the most part, you know, this year we still have a good number of students who did not take the ACT or SAT. I think I looked at, you know, probably about 80 students last year, probably around the end of April. There's probably about 80 students out there that had 4.0 grade point averages, but they had never taken the test. So again, if they were out of state, we offer them the 2,500, and in-state students, you got 2,000. So a lot of those students clearly probably could have done well enough to put themselves in a position to be able to get scholarship funding. It's just that, and I try not to say this too loudly, but a lot of our students were just being lazy. You know, and most of them know that a lot of institutions are actually waiving test scores, but you know, most of them are not really offering real good numbers in terms of scholarship funding and scholarships. So as we talk to students in different places, we try to strongly encourage them, please try to take the ACT or SAT test, because that's going to really depend on how much money your parents are going to have to come out of pocket with, you know, if you don't. So I think that's all of this. And now, one thing is this: this application, it's a little different than the one that we've had before, because number one, it makes you verify your email address when you put your information in. You have to set up a user login to get in this application, and of course, when you get in, it's going to send you an email to ask for you to confirm it, which is a good thing for us, because about 20% of our emails that we get from students are wrong. You know, when we send out information to a global list of students that's been accepted, or even those students who actually have incomplete applications, we get 70 or 80 of them that will bounce back because they're incorrect email addresses. And most of them are just simple typos where they leave out, you know, one letter. And you know, every now and then, you know, if they leave out the last .com and they put .con or something, you can figure some of those out. But if we don't get the body of the email, then we're not going to have really any kind of idea of where you know, we need to send that information for the student. We're actually going to be adding the actual address detail verification also, because it's going to be actually pulling data from the actual postal service. You know, if you put your address in wrong, then it's going to kick it back out and let you know that that address doesn't exist. So I think it's going to be probably about another couple of months before we get that added. So hopefully that's going to give us, you know, some more information to make sure that we have some accurate information. Now, the phone number situation, we're not there yet. You know, a lot of our students are, you know, giving us some bad phone numbers, but if we can get at least a good, accurate email address, then that's giving us almost about a 99% chance that we can communicate with these students. Now, the only other thing is that I would like for you guys to do in the event that you're talking to students is when they are when they're completing their applications, most of these high schools provide an email address for the students. And the unfortunate piece is when those students graduate, those email addresses are shut down the month that they actually graduate. And we've had several students where, you know, the parents will call us and we hadn't been getting anything, you know, and you know, the email stopped after May because they're shut down. So we try to strongly encourage the students to use a personal email address, you know, a Gmail account or Yahoo or whatever really works for them, rather than using those school accounts, because most of them will shut those email accounts down after the students graduate from high school. So if you guys can give us some help when you're talking to students on that, that'll definitely make a huge difference for us. So give us an email address that's going to be around after graduation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Green. That was one of the big questions. We have lots of questions in the chat and questions that we have received. But walking through the application with the students, is that something that you would suggest our alumni do when we're hosting and out there recruiting students, is to walk through this application? But this new application seems a little bit more interactive, as it verifies the information as they put in. One of the questions in the chat was, is there a way that there's on-site acceptance for out-of-state students?
Yes, we do offer on-site acceptance. You know, we had some pins last time, but this year we're going to try to do some certificates. And you know, there are some students who want to show that they got on-site acceptance. Because our requirements are so minimal in terms of what we ask, grade point average with or without test scores, as long as you have at least a 2.0 grade point average, you can get on the spot acceptance. Now, we don't have anything that we can give a student from an official standpoint, but most of them just want to know that they will be accepted. You know, some of our students.
Something that pops up from completing the application?
Well, when you do the application online, they are running decisioning processes on those applications pretty much on a daily basis. So what happens for us is that some institutions, they will only send you electronic copy of notification of acceptance letters. We're still going to send out official acceptance packages, which will include, of course, the acceptance letter, certificate with the student's name on it, and of course, an acceptance guide. They will get all of that information electronically by the system. You know, once the processors go in and they assign decisions to these students' applications, then that same day they will get an email saying that a decision has been made, which basically shows that they've been accepted. Pretty much, you know, as soon as they run the decisioning process, and they're doing that on a daily basis. But normally what we'll do, we won't be sending out the official hard copy package until, around the end of September. We're still making a few changes to the actual acceptance guide. Each year, we have some issues that may pop up that, causes, a few hiccups here and there. Last year, we told the students to set up their sign-on account in April, and they changed the system in the IT department. And what happened was they were sending notifications to the students to set up their account as soon as they were accepted. So we found out about that probably maybe March, and students were calling because, they said, I got this email that said I needed to set up my account, but I know most of you who work in places that's got high security in terms of your system, there's this octopus authentication that, you have to confirm it on your cell phone before you can log into some of these secure systems. And what was happening is that they were sending these notifications to the students right after they were accepted. Most of our students may not make up their mind until maybe some months down the road, but those octopus authentication invitations only last for 3 weeks. So if the 3 weeks expired, before you got a chance to do that, then all of these students were calling to get new invitation emails so they can set up their account. So we have not decided what we're going to do this year, but we're going to point the students to the website to tell them that they can set up their secured account after you pay your enrollment fee. And in that way, whatever they decide to do, then they'll post it, the message online for them to do that as soon as they click on the link.
Okay. What about the application process? So for the scholarship process, how long is the turnaround for finding out whether or not they received that scholarship? The application, it seems you can get it the same day, but as far as being awarded scholarship, are there certain deadlines? Is that specific per state or student?
Well, we will have a new financial aid director, probably within the next maybe 2 or 3 months. Normally, the scholarship deadline has been around the May timeframe. And of course, you all know when we do the bus tour in Alabama, that's usually not until end of February, 1st of March. So we're awarding scholarships throughout the whole state. And actually this year, we're going to be doing some other areas, Tennessee, Georgia, of course, Mississippi. And so we really can't really have a deadline when we hadn't even offered some scholarships to students if we don't do this. And it's going to be around the same time frame. The main thing about the bus tour is this: applicants drive the bus tour. We don't really start planning the bus tour until usually probably around January, because we need to know where the students that are actually eligible to receive scholarship are before we start planning in terms of where we're going to go. So because if there are no qualified applicants in this place, then no point of going there to award scholarships. But we're trying to combine some other things in on those trips, also some recruiting efforts. So a lot of things we're going to try to do different this year concerning the bus tour. And of course, Dr. Williams mentioned he wanted to do a 2-week bus tour. That is not as easily done as he said it is, but and a lot of people are asking, what are we going to do for the bus tour? And I tell them, so look, the bus tour God hadn't spoke to me yet, because I'm still, each day I'm, pondering with different things in terms of saying, how are we really going to do this? Because for all of us to have to leave the university and be gone for 2 weeks, that's really just not, not possible for us to do that, because we have students involved in this, and clearly we can't take students away from the university for 2 full weeks. And clearly that's going to be an enormous cost if we do it the way we've been doing it in the past. But what I think we're going to wind up doing is this: we're going to probably piggyback some of the actual areas for the out-of-state areas. For instance, we may deal with a Chattanooga and a possible Nashville at the same time while dealing with maybe an Anderson and Gadsden, because that way we'll be pretty adjacent to a major highway to get to one of those out-of-state areas. And some of the scholarship events may be at night, at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. I think the Atlanta area, we're probably going to have to do something on the weekend because you can't get anywhere in Atlanta in a hurry during the week for an event, at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the Atlanta area. So it's probably going to be tied to a weekend to be able to do that one. So I think what we're looking at doing is possibly doing one on the north side or the south side, one in the morning and then another one in the afternoon, because like I say, trying to get somewhere in Atlanta after school, that's going to be a real tough challenge. But like I say, there's some things that's, it's still cooking right now. So I haven't really decided who and where we're actually going to go. But I think I have a general idea of how we can make this work and make it a full 2 weeks. Now, he has committed to 2 weeks. Now, clearly, is his schedule going to be able to accommodate that 2 weeks? I don't know.
I mean, 2 weeks doesn't necessarily have to be consecutive. But another question that came out of the alumni is, how do we invite you to these states that are not necessarily surrounding Alabama? How do we get you out to Texas or California or New York? What is that process to do to invite an admissions rep, even if it's a hybrid, to have you guys online where one of the alumni man's on its table? What's that process look like?
Well, we have a recruiting schedule right now, and it has more events on it than we can actually accommodate. We kind of shift through it on a monthly basis. There are things that are being added pretty much on a daily basis. We are in all of those areas that you mentioned. There are a couple of huge organizations that they put on these events in California. There's a UCAN event, and then there's of course the Black College Expo, which is called a Caravan out in California. And those two different groups are covering, of course, San Diego, Los Angeles, Bakersfield, Sacramento, San Francisco, Oakland, and I think Fresno, and a couple of other areas, and they're pretty highly publicized. We normally send people out to the California area probably about on 3 different occasions, and normally this is about for a 2-week time frame. So there's a lot of activity out there. We would love to be in a whole lot more places than we're able to reach. This time of year, I'm out recruiting. Some of my admissions assistants are out recruiting. It's not just a 5-person show. Normally we fully staffed have 5 recruiters. Right now we only have 4, but in the process of bringing another person on board. But I'm usually out there, especially on the weekends. I try to do these events that are not so far away that I can actually drive, especially those big events that are on the Saturday or Sunday, that way I can kind of get back here to work that following Monday. So, and there are some that myself and some of the admissions processors are doing the week. And so, we try to send the recruiters who are out there doing this every day on most of these longer trips, because, hey, it'd be nice to go to California, but that's a little too far out of pocket for me to be away from the office, to not be able to get back in a short period of time. So there are other areas that we do want to reach, and clearly with many of your help, trying to assist us to reach some of these pockets that we can't reach. We're quite appreciative for all your efforts and the things that you're trying to do to assist us. So I can at least once a month send you guys a copy of the actual recruiting schedule. Most of them will have a person's name on there. And if you feel that one of those events are close to somewhere that you all live, feel free to let me know if you guys think you can have some coverage. Now, we do have the new brochures in. We did get them about 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to have Ray to make sure that she sends some out to all those areas to have at least a couple hundred on hand in the event that you have something going on in your area. So We'll try to include some wristbands and pins and all those kind of things. So that way you have some of the new things that, we just got fixed for this year. So you guys play a vital role in all that we do, because you imagine all the alumni that we have throughout this entire country. If everybody was responsible for bringing one student, then we wouldn't have to go anywhere. But clearly it's not that easy. But like I say, your help is appreciated tremendously. And, we're all about doing whatever we can to try to assist you guys when you have, students that are looking for information to, make sure that we, let them know that we appreciate it. So, again, thank you. I couldn't say thank you enough times for what you all do for us. I don't know, I wasn't reading the things in the chat, but let me see if I missed anything.
I've been collecting the questions and trying to get you to answer as many as we can in our time allotted. If you need to hop off, we understand.
And we had allotted an hour for this event, but we do have a lot of questions from the alumni.
Sure, I'll go through.
To help, so we can get those recorded, and this will be available in a playback on our YouTube channel, as well as sent out to everyone that registered. Another question was, what size events would it take to get a recruiter out to? So should it be like, should we have it? Does it need to be more than 2 hours? Does it need to be 50 students? Does it need multiple schools? Like, what events are should be capitalized on the most?
Okay.
Well, you guys invite.
If you have something that's going to involve a good number of students, we're flexible, and a lot of it's going to depend on what we have going on for that week. Because like I say, there's some events that we can't cover because we just don't have enough personnel. So, we like events that's going to have quite a few students, but that doesn't mean that we can't attend an event that's got a small number. And like I said, a lot of it depends on where it is. If it involves having to fly someone there, get a rental car, and of course a hotel and all that, that is an expense, but, we do take it into account. If we think that we're going to get a significant number of students to apply and be accepted and do enroll, hey, there's nothing that's, off the table for us. So if you have some things that are going on in your areas, hey, just let me know, and we'll do our best to try to see where we can get there.
What's the best way to contact your office?
Okay. I can give you guys my phone number, and my email address, and I'll give you a cell phone number also. Just let me know things that's going on in your area. And like I said, what I'll try to do is at least at the first of the month, we'll send you guys a copy of the travel schedule, and that way you'll see, what recruiters are actually going to be in the area. Now that information will change. We're adjusting recruiting schedules sometimes on a daily basis, because if other things pop up, then, okay, here's an event that's going to only be an hour and a half that could possibly only involve maybe, 100 or so students. If we get notification of an event that's going to have hundreds or even thousands of students, then clearly we'll have to reroute someone to a different location. But again, nothing is off the table in terms of things that you all know about that, should be a fruitful recruiting event for us.
Ms. Natasha here, representing the Alumni Association, and a proud member of the Atlanta chapter. So just some questions that we can kind of tidy some of this up. There's a ton of questions in the chat. Would it be possible that if they haven't been answered, we can email them to you, and you can send us back some information about like specific deadlines and dates? I think that's a big question that we're seeing. People want to make sure they have the dates down, when to apply, what the fees are. They can be, kind of concise, and we can get that out. Because, one thing I've shared with you when we asked you to do this is we understand that you are limited in the resources there. And here in Atlanta, we want to be boots on the ground for the university. And I know that a lot of other chapters that are outside of the state feel the same way. We know you can't get to us now. Atlanta's close and you come here. But for like the DC chapter, they were wondering, have you considered coming to DC or, places like that? But when you get out to the California chapters, we want to be boots on the ground for you. So we're going to get a lot. I just want to make sure we can get the information and have it clear so then we can communicate on the behalf of the university.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Like I say, I will give you guys, like I say, my email address and phone number at the office, and of course the cell phone. I'm mobile a lot of times. I do get dragged into meetings quite a bit, but I keep my cell phone with me all the time. In the event that you call me, if I don't answer, just text me. And if I can't call you, if I can't talk to you right then, I will, make sure that I do call you back. And in the event that I don't, sometimes the day gets hectic. Feel free to, hey, call me back, Mr. Green. You didn't call me back. I got you, because, hey, I have people running at me from 8 until 6 o'clock in the evening, just about every day. And I try to do my best to make sure I, at least keep everybody, abreast of anything that we have going on. So that way, I'll make life easier for you to help us get students here. And I did see one of the questions up there said that some of the kids made some tough choices to go to other institutions. If you have one of our brochures, there actually is a main number on there for our office. And in the event that your student does not get a response from us, I'd like to know about it. And if they fill out an application, like I said, this year should be different because we have an autoresponder system that's going to be responded to these students. When you put your application in, it's going to be constantly sending you some information, and it's going to send you information concerning who the processor is for that student's application. And there's going to be a phone number and an email address there. Now, in the event that that student has reached out to one of the processors and nobody's been responsible, then I want to know about it. And again, this year should be a lot different from previous years, because if you complete the registration for your application, you're going to be getting some emails that's telling you what to do. And if you have questions, there are phone numbers that a student should be able to call to get information regarding their application. So there may have been some applications and students that may have fallen through the cracks. One thing I do know is this is like I say, we get so many incorrect phone numbers and of course incorrect email addresses, but I'm confident that 99% of our emails are going to be accurate this year now, unless a parent put their email address in there. And I'll give you one example. We had a parent that worked for the government and she put her work email address in there. And of course that organization was screening emails from Alabama A&M, and she was not getting any of them. And when she registered the student for SOAR, you have to put your email address in there 3 times. So if you get it wrong twice, hopefully you'll get it right once. And we were sending all the notifications to that email address, but they were being blocked by government email system. And so when she told me what the address was, it said all those emails were being blocked. And but like I say, this time, if we get the email address from the student or the parent and they're checking it, it should give us. And here's one other thing, and I'll do that real quick. A lot of email systems will put our emails on the spam list. So this way, when you set your application up in that portal, if it goes to the spam box, it'll tell you. If you don't receive it, check your junk mail, check your spam mail, and then move Alabama A&M to your accepted list of companies. So we should have better communication than we've ever had this year because of the new system that we're using. So hopefully we don't have a whole lot of students that's getting a message through that's saying that they haven't heard anything from us.
Another question, besides the application fee, is there application fee? Is it waived this year?
We're still waiving application fees for students who request them. We do like for some students to pay, and we still normally application week for students in Alabama is usually around the end of October, 1st of November. So we do have a lot of students that request a fee waiver, and then all they have to do is send a message or even make a call. If they need a fee waiver, then they can request one. Until VP of Business and Finance tell us that we're not collecting enough application fees, then hey, we'll keep it moving. And clearly, we shouldn't let a $30 fee hold up a $14,000 bill, right?
That's one way to put it. Also, do you have plans to have, I guess, a table or a tent at the upcoming classic in Mobile and Birmingham, or even like the Battle of the Bands in Charlotte?
Right. We will have some students, handing out some recruiting things for the Mobile game. We're looking to do the same thing for the game in St. Louis, but everything has been so hush-hush about that game. There's not a whole lot of correspondence going around. And finally, I saw something last week, and I've got a couple of people inquiring about some things that we're going to try to do, but we don't have as much time to react to that game as we do for the one in Mobile. But we're actually going to be visiting some of the high schools down in the Mobile area, just like we normally do during the Magic City Classic. The student ambassadors are there. And normally we visit about 6 or 7 different schools in the Birmingham area during that week on that Thursday and Friday. So we're going to try to spread it around, pretty good, and do the same thing down in Mobile also.
So again, I want to offer our services as alumni to duplicate your efforts. If you're not able to have a rep there, we definitely want to be able to be a rep for your office and man a table and assign some alumni or a chapter in that area to be eyes and ears basically for you. And maybe even go hybrid, so you don't actually always have to send everyone out of your office to travel, but have someone available via Zoom or whatnot. Is that something we can schedule with the chapters that are in those areas during those games and events?
Yes, of course. And like I said, what I'll do is when I free my admissions coordinator up, after we get another admissions assistant to fill that other position, I'm going to free her up to try to assist with some of this, some of the calls that you guys may have questions and need some help. And that way I'll have a second person that's able to go out there and get some things taken care of for us. So, we're still trying to fill a couple of vacant spots. So that way the rest of us can kind of free ourselves up to do more things for some more people. So I will, like I say, I'll put my information here in the chat window, and you guys can save my phone number. Let's see, it was light time before I sat down here. Let me turn the light on so I can see.
Thank you. Another question was, let's see, classic. Y'all didn't know about the game in St. Louis? That's good. See, we informing you guys already. I saw a really good question. Natasha, did you?
And we really need, I was just gonna say, we really need the numbers by Wednesday, because people are gonna wanna know. Right. Yeah, and they're estimate numbers, because it's Wayne pointed out.
Okay, I heard bits and pieces of that, but and I think it wasn't that we didn't know about the Classic. We didn't have details of what was really going on.
No, alumni didn't know that there was a game in St. Louis, so we just put some people on about that. No, so another question was, how are we reaching out to the virtual students and providing virtual assistance for updates for schools that are virtual?
Okay, it's the same way. Like I say, we last year, when we knew that we were going to be doing so many virtual events, we had Dr. Hugini to give us a little recording, and we kind of added it. We added that to some of the other videos. So, and a lot of times it depends on how much time we had. And I think we fixed those files where if they told us, oh, well, you only get 10 minutes, and then some of them was like 5 or 6. So we had to fix them where, depending on how much time we had, was really what decision we used to play what video. So there's a lot of things that we can give you all to have access to. And in that way, like I say, all of them will be on YouTube. All you need to do is just click on the link, and then of course it'll play that video for us. And if you have virtual events that you want to get our assistance with, then we'll be happy to do that also.
Hi, Mr. Green. How you doing?
How you doing?
Good. Nick Tarver from the Washington, D.C. Metro Alumni Chapter. I
Okay.
just wanted to elaborate on the virtual piece again. So
Okay.
virtual learning is becoming popular across the country. A lot of universities are starting to get their programs
Mhm.
beefed up on the virtual side.
Okay.
Has A&M developed a strategy to expand our virtual learning and offer either a hybrid or 100% virtual degrees?
That's really a twofold answer. Yes, we are. But the unfortunate piece of that is that some of our students are not doing as well with virtual learning as they should be. And it's pretty much the same scenario as some of these kids when they were in high school. A lot of our students did not transition well to online learning. And it's evidence of that seen now. And clearly, most of our typical students need to be face-to-face. I know there are a lot of students who are requesting online classes only, but we're not there yet. I don't know what the next year is going to bring in terms of any more growth concerning that, but I do know that there is a need for it. Now, the million-dollar question is are most of our students really disciplined enough to do the virtual learning? And it's just from the past couple of years, we saw it in the high schools, and there's quite a bit of evidence of it at the college level that a lot of them are still really not ready, and they're not disciplined enough to do the online learning.
Gotcha. Now, there's definitely a demographic on the professional side, people who are looking for advanced degrees or
Exactly.
working full time,
Right.
living in Birmingham, but they can't commute all the time to Huntsville to go to A&M. So
Right.
there's definitely a market for people who are interested in online learning. So you guys might want to think about that, because that's
Right.
the untapped resource that we need to.
Exactly. And we had several students that basically, they decided not to enroll because we didn't have the full online presence. We do have a couple of degrees that you can get based on just online. But most of the students were looking for a lot more different programs, and most of them were just looking for an opportunity to do an online degree, period. Not just because of COVID, but just totally, all 4 years. And the programs, they were interested in them all, I'm not sure what, like I said, the next year is going to bring, but I do know that there's still a lot of chitter chatter surrounding that. So let's hope that that will give us some additional options in the next year.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna make this our last question because we're gonna wrap this up about 8:30 Eastern time. But what would you say would be the top 5 do's and don'ts for alumni in assisting your office for recruiting? So what are things that alumni shouldn't do when we're speaking to students? Just give us 5 examples of, 3 examples of what not to do and 3 examples of what to say to students when we're recruiting.
Okay. And I don't think it's a top 5 in the don'ts. I think the only one is if the question comes up about waiving out-of-state fees and all that, like say that, I will refer to that brochure and just basically say that we give a student a scholarship to cover the out-of-state portion in the event they meet the requirements, which is of course a 2.0 and an 18. And like I said, that information will be actually on the brochure. So we try to stay away from mentioning any kind of waivers because students will get that twisted. And we've had some situations where we had to clean up that students said that, they said that we were going to waive the fees. And then we have to show them, if you look at the brochure, if you look at the acceptance letter, and you look at the acceptance guide, there's nothing in there that says anything about waiving any out-of-state fees. So most of the time, I'm usually able to clean that up without a fight. We've had some parents that'll get, kind of hostile, but I get it. You know, no one wants to be told something, they make a decision, and all of a sudden that's not offered. You know, I think there's only been one case that we had to eat that. So not a whole lot of fun when you got to offer up a scholarship that a kid is not qualified for, and because of something that someone may have mentioned to them. But the dues is do tell our students, if you have not taken the ACT, SAT, try to do it, you know, and again, I think a lot of it is laziness, and clearly, I mean, 88 students with a 4.0 grade point average, no way you're going to tell me these kids couldn't have possibly made a decent score on the test. You know, they just didn't want to, because a lot of the schools and a lot of our counselors around the country are not doing our kids good justice, because they said, well, yeah, so and so and so is test optional. That's true, but the scholarship criteria still exists. And we don't just give a scholarship away because a student has the grade point average for it. So like I said, I think a lot of cleanup can be done at the high school levels for some of these counselors, because a lot of them are, you know, and you never know when they're not doing us the best justice because of A, B, or C. So my dues to all of our students, if you haven't taken the test, take it, you know, and I think, and of course, use your personal email address, not your high school address that they assign to you while you're there, because they're going to shut it off on May 31st. You won't receive any more correspondence from us on that.
Got it. Got it. Well, I totally appreciate you taking the time to speak to the alumni tonight and answer these questions. We are going to compile these questions that were presented and email them, and along with the information that you presented, to send out to all the people that registered, along with the council of presidents, so that it can be forwarded out to the alumni. We just want to help you so we can.
Okay, and like I say, again, I can't say how much I appreciate all that you all do, because it's a huge extension of our office. And like I say, it's real tough being in a couple of places at the same time for one person. We try real hard to do that. I mean, my recruiters are on the road more than probably most recruiters in the state, and because we're out there trying to go get after it. And like I say, really one student will pay for the trip. And like I say, in the event that we have events that are more going on than we can handle at the time, you know, I'll try to create some type of message blog to let you guys know what events are out there that we don't have coverage for. And in the event that you all see them, you know, you guys reach out to me. And I think maybe when I put my information in there, the number got separated from the name and email address. So you guys can kind of dig around in there and find it. You know, but I think most of you may have gotten it. So feel free to share that number with any other people who didn't get it, okay?
Thank you, thank you. And we will definitely work as Alumni Association to try to filter out and help you guys as much as possible. So I really appreciate everybody for taking the time to log on tonight to talk to Dr. Green. Oh, look at that promotion. Are you a doctor? Mr. Green. I'm speaking tonight, and keep on more tech talks to come. We definitely have our next event coming soon. Homecoming is in 3 weeks. So maybe we'll be able to stop by and talk to you in person while we're there. Ms. Moore, do you have anything out to close us out with?
No. And before she does that, Ms. Gordon, call me tomorrow morning, at least about 9:00 a.m. your time, okay? Phyllis?
Okay, I will.
All right.
Mr. Green.
Yes, ma'am.
This is LaQuita. How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. So one thing I could give is feedback. It seems like every year high school senior day is on an SAT testing Saturday. That first Saturday in November. So that creates a challenge for those of us who want to bring seniors down, but they're either testing on that day or we're working the test. So in the future, can we look at some alternative dates rather than scheduling on a SAT date?
Right. I'm glad you did mention that too, because I need to let all of you know what we're doing with high school senior day. And of course, you know, normally high school senior day is on the last home game of the season. And of course, the last home game is on the Thanksgiving break. So no students will be here. Even faculty and staff will be on the Thanksgiving break. So what we did was November 5th, the team is down in Mississippi at Mississippi Valley. And so what we decided to do is said, okay, how about this? How about a basketball game? Matter of fact, I'm going to send you, Ms. English, a copy of the flyer. We're actually going to do a scrimmage game, one half with the women's basketball team and the other half with the men's basketball team. Going to have two guest coaches. Dr. Williams will be coaching one of the team for the men. And of course, Trustee Jeanette Jones will be coaching one of the women's basketball team. So we're going to have some fun with it. And I told them, so the guys got to make sure you all are really out there, really pushing this thing. So I have not sent the flyer out yet. And I was trying to get a confirmation from the folks at the new arena. We're going to have it at the new arena. And I went up there Friday to see whether or not they were going to have this thing done. And they said they're going to be done mid-October. But if it's not done by the 5th of November, we're in trouble, because if we've got more than 1,700 people, I don't have an option to move that to Elmore Gym and have enough space. So I'm going to cross my fingers that it's going to get done. It's possible. I was shaking my head most of the time. It's going to be a beautiful building, you guys, and I know you guys are going to love it when you do see it. But we're going to start advertising this real hard next week. The flyers will start going out to all the schools, and we will send some flyers to all the chapters. I'm going to try to get Ms. Ray to get all these brochures out of here at least by Friday. So hopefully you'll have enough of the flyers for high school senior day. But of course, we're going to play it all up with all this. We're playing basketball this year. I know you guys probably remember the little video that Curtis Blow did. We're playing basketball, all that good stuff. So we're going to really try to hype it up this year. So I told Dr. Williams, I said, make sure you're ready. And, he had actually forgot about that. And he asked me, did we change high school senior day? I said, no, it's still November 5th, but we're doing the basketball game. So look, I don't know if any of you guys live in Mississippi or if you ever been down there. I went down there one time in 1986, and I said I was never going back. Mosquitoes down there, look, they will eat you alive. So, like I say, I was thinking, okay, we'll just do a basketball game. So, and I think a lot of people have been excited about the idea. So we're expecting hopefully some good turnout. We're going to try to get some sponsors from the local area to do t-shirts for us, so that way everybody get a t-shirt. So we'll be working on all of those things while we're doing everything else. So I'll try to keep you guys posted for any of that. I don't know if Ms. Stubbs on here tonight or not, but I know Ms. Jones is. And all of us will try to stay connected and get the message out to you guys, so that way you guys want to bring a bus or anything, I told Dr.
You missed it. They put out the challenge. Atlanta said they're bringing 3 bus loads down. And so Dr. Vickerstaff challenged the rest of the alumni chapters to match that or do better. So it's a challenge. So you're going to have some students there.
Okay, well, there's supposed to be 5,000 seats in that arena. So I said, we're going to try to fill every seat. So
we're definitely going to have some students there from Atlanta. We're very serious about it. We will start registering students to go next week. Andrew, serious.
Okay.
Atlanta, serious.
Well,
I see it. We're going to try to get a van of students from South Carolina. We're going to work it.
I got you. Okay.
Hey, Mr. Green, is it possible to do the senior day during some warmer months so the kids can really enjoy the beauty of the campus? That's another feedback I got. It's too cold.
Right. And we've been asked that question also. Normally, because we have so many different things going on, one of the reasons why they put it at the end of the season, because they think it's a little cooler and they don't think it's many people who are coming out to the game. So it kind of fills up the stands a little bit. And most of the people, once they watch the band at the halftime show, then everybody kind of dispersed. But, for games that they know they should have good attendance, where people are actually paying, football, does try to generate some revenue. And normally if we put 1,600 1,700 students in the stand for free, then most people would just decide to say, look, we'll just go to high school senior day. We won't buy a ticket for this game. So, and I know there was some logic in that, and I get it. And but you know, they had mentioned that, you know, Brian Hicks, when he was here, he said, why not just have high school senior day every home game? And I said, yeah, that'll be a little much because clearly all these events, they take time to plan. And for my office, really, we're averaging probably one major event every 6.5 weeks. So, and that's about, you know, almost 10 or 11 per year, but we have to do all of this stuff simultaneously while we're out recruiting and doing all the other things that need to be done. So it's good for us if we're going to really try to put on one good solid event to try to get it at least past the Magic City Classic, because we're all doing a lot of things for the Classic and all these other things that are popping up here and there. Most of the time, like I say, they just don't like to give away that many free tickets during a game that they know should have pretty good attendance. So I think that's why they've always pushed that off to the last game of the season. So I know there's a lot of factors. I mean, I hate that we did get that scheduled on a date that they're doing SAT testing, but that's really driven by the NCAA and the football schedule. So, you know, hopefully there's not many other things that are going on during that weekend, but hopefully some of these students will get a chance to take that test a little earlier than November.
One more question about that. So there was a question in the chat. Will they be able to tour classrooms, and will that be back open, or is still COVID protocols?
Well, we've never really had an opportunity for students to tour classrooms because normally all of those buildings are locked. And really, we tried to do some of that during SOAR this summer, and that really didn't turn out the way we wanted. You know, people kind of started drifting off, and they were walking up stairwells and all of that, and we were trying to get those people back on the bus so we can move on to the next step. So we pretty much decided that that's just really not a good situation to do with a bus load of people.
That's what the best thing to do. Just put them on the bus and let them do the loop.
Right, and that's pretty much what we've been doing doing high school senior day, because you know when we have football games, we can't move that football game, and most of the people want to get to see half of the game, see the band, and then get on their bus, because most of these people maybe come from 5, 6, 7 hours away, so they don't want to be all in the middle of the night trying to get back home. So you know, since the game usually starts at 1 o'clock, if we have a program that lasts about an hour and a half, then they want to have time to view all the exhibits for all the different departments to see, you know, what they want to major in. And then, of course, we got to feed them. And, you know, by the time you do all of that, it's usually right at 1 o'clock after you put them on a bus tour and take them probably about a 20-minute ride around the campus. That's usually about as much as we have time to do. It's a full day, exactly, right. And a lot of those students won't get there. I mean, we try to start 8:30, you know, 8:45. We try to stretch it as long as we can, because normally the band is the first hit. And, you know, I try to hold Mr. Wright as long as I can, especially when you see there's still a whole lot of kids coming in. I mean, there'll be bus loads coming up. They'll be just pulling up in front of the gym while the band is getting ready to go in, everybody to Mr. Marching Maroon White. And of course, hey, look, I'm a 4-year member of drum section, Marching Maroon White band. And I know how exciting it can be, and we try not to cheat anybody opportunity to see that. And, you know, like I say, a lot of times when we really get started, it's usually almost a 10 minutes to 9 time frame. And of course, you got good 4 hours to, you know, exhibits, program, food, and tour. That's a whole lot of stuff to compress down in 4 hours.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you all for logging on. Our next Tech Talk, we're definitely going to try to get all our coaches and the band director on to talk how we can get the students and support them better throughout the year. So definitely look for that as we continue with the homecoming. And yeah, football season is getting started, so it's about to really ramp up. So definitely make sure you're in tune, plugged in, and you're getting your member planning emails and following us on all social media. So without further ado, thank you again. And that's the end of our Tech Talk.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for inviting me. Okay. All right. Y'all take care. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Great job, everyone.